We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week is Scholar Brian himself, the Scholar Brian of all Scholar Brians. He is Scholar Brian. Scholar Brian, how's your Scholar Brian?
There is no Scholar Brian quite like this Scholar Brian, who is having a very Scholar Brian-like day. That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, insert your own conclusions here. But yes, we're back with another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show. And from what it looks like on the old calendar, we've got an NXT Takeover to talk about this year.
This year.
Yes, only one.
Only one.
So not even 5 minutes in and I'm already slipping.
So it better be good.
It has been one of those kinds of weeks for all of us all around, I imagine.
Yeah, it's been one of these years, let's face it.
Hey, coming out of what 2020 was, that's saying something. But
yeah, it's like coming out of 2020, we're all like, it's gonna get better. Yeah, for some of you, maybe.
Kind of by default, at least we're hoping.
Kind of had to be by default, but in some cases, not so much. But it's NXT. Whether you're entertained by the TV show or not, you can always guarantee that the pay-per-view events will be something to watch, something to get excited for. So I have high hopes.
Oh, yes. And I've got high hopes, not just for the wrestling we've got, but also for a staple, whether you know it or not, of the WWE landscape. Something that old school fans have learned to appreciate, even when it preempts Monday Night Raw. That's right. I'm talking about the Westminster Club Kennel Dog Show.
Yes. The return.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it's going to be on at roughly the same time as NXT Takeover.
So
my wife and I looked it up.
One TV's gonna have the dog show. One TV is gonna have the NXT.
Damn straight.
Yes.
It's the only way to watch TV these days.
Damn straight.
But anyway, given the fact that the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show is nigh unpredictable, because no one. We'll wait for the Scholars of Dog Shows podcast to launch. In the meantime,
where's the betting on that? That's the bet. That's the thing you bet on.
I'll put $5 on the Schnauzer.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I am genuinely curious about how that one's going to go. But this is not Scholars of Dog Shows. This is Scholars of Wrestling. So without any further ado, let's just dive right into it. First off, we've got for a winner-take-all match for the North American and NXT Tag Team Championships. We've got the team of Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. Brian, I'm going to kick it over to you, and I'm going to cut through all of the background noise. Who do you got for this one?
The deal with this is this would have been a harder choice if you hadn't had Bronson Reed just win the North American title. If it was someone who had held the title for a while, and MSK, who's held the title for a little bit, then this would be a harder one to pick. But Bronson Reed just won it. They're not going to give it to. I don't think that they're going to give. I don't think that they're going to hot potato. That's not something that NXT normally does. And as much as I like Santos Escobar, they're not going to give it to him on Bronson Reed's first title defense. Whether it's in a 6-man match that could come down to fuckery or not. I just don't think that this is going to be the way that Bronson Reed loses his title in a 6-man match due to fuckery on his first title defense. So I'm going to go with the champions to retain.
Yeah, for this one, I really don't think it's going to be that. There are a lot of matches out there that could go either way. This is certainly does not seem to be shaping up to be one of them. So I'm going to second this one. I'm going to go Reed MSK. Next on the card, we also have for the NXT Women's Championship, we've got Raquel Gonzalez and Ember Moon. Same principle applies here, really. I'm thinking that, like you said with Bronson Reed, I'm thinking that it's too early, and there's, in my opinion, there hasn't been quite enough build for Ember Moon to take it, at least not yet. So I'm going to pick Raquel Gonzalez to retain.
Yeah, basically the deal here is they built up Raquel Gonzalez so hard in her ascent to winning the championship that she can't lose it for a while. Like, I mean, like, is this her first or second defense?
I think it's probably her second.
Okay. Yeah, I think that she holds the title until WrestleMania Takeover. The way that they built her up to take the title in the first place. Okay, I think they're building her up for a monster run. They built the way they built her up to get her the title lends credence to the idea that she's going to have a long run with it. So for me, this is probably more like an enhancement title match. This is for Ember Moon to make her look really good. Ember Moon gets all her moves in, but she makes Raquel Gonzalez make really good in beating the veteran who has been on the main roster. And it'll show that Raquel Gonzalez deserves to be up there, but she chooses to be here and be the NXT champion. So yeah, she's got a long run ahead of her for the title. And as much as I like Ember Moon, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm the one place where I feel like we disagree is definitely Raquel Gonzalez is going to win, but I'm under the impression that it's going to be for different reasons, and we'll get into that later. In the meantime, we've got next on the card, we've got Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li. Brian, it's your pick between Xia Li and Mercedes Martinez. What do you got?
There's no way that Xia Li doesn't win this. First of all, you've got the news coming out that Mercedes Martinez is under consideration to be the bodyguard for the Evolution on Raw. So this might be her swan song in NXT for all points and purposes. And the way you're building up Xia Li, okay, it would be stupid. It would be foolish and stupid for her to lose right now.
Yeah, for this one, I'm going to say that, yeah, obviously Xia Li is winning this, but my reasoning for it is more ties into what you're talking about with Raquel Gonzalez. I'm going to say that Raquel Gonzalez's strength right now, at least in my eyes, is more due to not having strong enough contenders, like someone who will swoop in and just really put up a fight and whoop some ass and take that title and is really deserving of it. And at that point, not only is Xia Li going over on Sunday just to elevate herself and to sort of graduate Mercedes Martinez, if what you're saying is true, but in the longer term, I'm thinking that this is going to lead a Xia Li backed by Tian Sha and all those people. If this doesn't lead to a Xia Li future run as NXT women's champion, it's going to take the other woman in Tian Sha, who's giving off those Shao Kahn vibes. I'm thinking it's going to go to one of them.
Yeah, I have no doubt that one of those two is the next women's champion. I just think that because of the way that they built Raquel Gonzalez up to be the champion, like she's a heel champion right now. Okay, technically Xia Li and Tian Sha are heels. Okay, so they're not gonna do heel versus heel. That's not a thing. So, but I have no doubt that they're building Xia Li up for a future title run. I just don't think that they're gonna get it over Raquel Gonzalez. I think that they're gonna get it. I think that someone else is gonna beat her first. And then Xia Li will take it Fiend style.
Interesting. Well, speaking of interesting, this brings us to what is personally my most anticipated match of the night. It's the $1 million ladder match between Cameron Grimes and LA Knight. And I think this is going to be Cameron Grimes' coming out party. He's going to climb that ladder and he's going to lift that $1 million title to the moon. He's just on too much of a hot streak. LA Knight does not need it, and it just fits the Cameron Grimes character too perfectly. And he deserves it with the work he's putting in. Cameron Grimes to the moon. Scott Bryan, what say you?
This is going to be the one where we differ.
Because you know what? I could have sworn you said you were going to. I was anticipating you were going to go Grimes on this one.
This is not a one-off. Okay. If this was a one-off, I would agree with you and say Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes is going to be $1 million champion in the end. But this is a story with a lot of layers to it. We need to remember who else is involved. Okay, LA Knight is the heel. Cameron Grimes is the face. Ted DiBiase is Ted DiBiase. And this is, I don't feel like this feud is there. LA Knight is going to win because of Ted DiBiase's shenanigans. And then at the takeover before SummerSlam, Cameron Grimes is going to take it. That's just the way that it seems like WWE and NXT work things. Like they have to beat the babyface down into the dirt to make his rise to the top mean so much more. And I see them doing the Cameron Grimes thing when there's crowds. When there's a crowd to cheer him at the takeover before SummerSlam. Where he'll get one over on both Ted DiBiase and LA Knight and become the $1 million champion, and then he will go to the moon. I think that it's too much of a red herring for Cameron Grimes to climb the ladder to the moon and grab the $1 million championship. I don't think that Cameron Grimes wins in a ladder match. That's just too on the nose.
All right. But then again, that brings us to our final match of the card, at least the announced ones. We've got a fatal 5-way for the NXT Championship. Karrion Kross, Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, Bebe, Johnny Gargano, and Pete Dunne. Uh, as far as me personally, as much as I would love to see Pete Dunne with the NXT Championship, I'm not convinced it's his time yet, and Karrion Kross walks away with the victory on this one. Brian,
Yeah,
take
it's
it
not.
home.
It's let's face it. Okay, the last couple weeks on NXT TV. Okay, each one of these contenders has made Karrion Kross look like a bitch on TV. Just talking to him. Karrion Kross has been getting bullied by all these people. It's like there's no way he doesn't win this match. Okay, it's another one where it's too soon. Like he hasn't defended the title yet.
Hmm.
He hasn't.
Yeah, this.
So it's just, and you got to establish what he was when he was champion the first time before the shoulder injury. Okay, because his stuff hasn't, let's face it, his stuff hasn't been great since he came back. Like the stuff before his injury, awesome. Okay, since he came back,
Now, on the subject of that, if you had to guess, would you say that's a consequence of the injury he suffered, or do you think that's maybe something that got in his head, or someone got in his ear and said, "Do you think you maybe should slow it up a bit?"
I can see that, and some of it isn't the fault of him. It's also the writing team, because I'm not a fan of how they portrayed the character. Like I like Adam Cole, I like Johnny Gargano, but they shouldn't be walking up face to face with Karrion Kross and sunning him. Like they shouldn't. Karrion Kross shouldn't be getting bullied on TV by people who are like a foot smaller than him. Okay, that they're not writing a dominant champion the way that they should be writing a dominant champion, and the only way it works is if he dominates this match, and I think that's what needs to happen. I'm not saying that it can't be a good 20-minute match, but there should be no doubt at the end of it that Karrion Kross whooped these guys' ass, all four of them. I mean, that's it. You need to establish Karrion Kross the way you did when he first came in, when he looked unbeatable. And none of these guys would have talked to him the way that they were talking to him the last 2 weeks during that run before the injury.
So what you're saying is he needs to treat this like the Westminster Club dog show and just establish dominance immediately.
Yes.
There you go. There it is.
Establish dominance and never let go of the rope.
I never let go of the leash.
Yeah. It's just one of those things. If you want me to take him seriously, if you want me to believe in him now, the way that I believed in him before he had to give up the title, okay, I believed that guy was a badass wholeheartedly. Okay, this one that I see right now, losing promo battles to Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, guys that best that they could probably do in real life is kick him in the shin,
poke him in the eyes,
and run off. It's like there's got to be some, like, even when it was Ray and Big Show, like Ray was never walking up to Big Show's face and completely sunning him.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be some time to get some heat back. At least if the powers that be in NXT are competent at all. I'm thinking that's what's gonna be in the cards.
Yeah, I de- I think in order for this to work, Karrion Cross has to destroy Adam Cole to pin him. Adam Cole has to be pinned by Karrion Cross. Maybe secondary Gargano,
Hmm,
because
very
those were the
interesting.
ones that were talking the most shit, making him look bad. Like, even if he completely destroyed O'Reilly and Dunn and left them on the outside and then did a Roman at Mania and stacked up Gargano and Cole on top of each other and then pinned them both, that would be my most that would be the ending that I would enjoy the most. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think the smart move here is to pin one of them because they were the ones who were getting up in his face and
And
talking
that's
shit.
why it's gonna happen.
It needs to, and I have faith in Triple H and the NXT writers. I don't have faith in Triple H doing press conferences, but
We don't
when he's
talk
right,
about those press conferences
but
anymore.
when he's but when he's writing pay-per-views, I don't really trust them writing TV anymore because the TV is boring once they got off the network and put it on regular TV. But when it comes to writing the stories and the pay-per-views and all that, they're they're smart. So you need to have Karrion Cross take out all four of them.
All right. And with that, we have placed all of our predictions for this week's NXT takeover in your house. Now we are turning it over to you, our listening wrestling discussing audience, etc., etc. What do you think is going to happen at takeover? Who's going to win best at show at the dog show? Whatever you think, we want to hear from you all across the internet. YouTube comments, Facebook posts, and our personal favorite, the Twitter machines. Brian, where can they reach you?
You can reach me hoping for a golden retriever at the Westminster Dog Show at Atomic Beanpole.
You can find me clearly understanding that it's going to be the German Shepherd or one of the toy breeds at I'm Robbie Rage. And of course, you can check out all of our episodes every single week at Scholars OW. But then again, I've got a feeling that you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're
You're welcome.
welcome. Enjoy in your house, and I hope you have some dogs in your house. Something, something dog show. Woof.
Good night.